Hey boo kittens, it's me Keisha, and I am here with this week's All Tea All Shade Real Housewives of Atlanta season 16 episode 3 review. Want to let you guys know that this week I will be MIA. I'm going to be taking the next few days off until April 1st. I'm going to wrap up a lot of videos that I have planned for April, as well as, I'm working on redecorating my living room. So I want to wrap that up as well this week. So don't be expecting any reviews from me until April 1st, which is when I will be back, and I'll be back with a bang. So get ready, because April is about to be one banger of a month over here on the ColorMePynk channel. And if you have not subscribed to my second channel, Pop Culture Digest, please do so. The link is down below in the description box. I have content over there that I have been uploading, so go and support that channel for me as well. And if you have not joined me over on Patreon, that link is down below in the description box too. We are jamming over there. You get to watch these reality shows along with me. Plus, if you join my second tier, the High T Squad tier, you not only get to watch these reality shows with me, but we're also watching Interview with a Vampire season 2, as well as Erica Mena's reality show on Zeus as well. So join me over on Patreon, because it's unfiltered, uncut, and it's raw. So yeah. But let's get into this week's episode of Atlanta, honey, because it was a doozy, okay? I got a lot to say, so this probably going to be a long review, okay? So this week's episode begins with Nasal B, aka Britt Edie, and we see her at home with her husband. They're having her in-laws over for dinner, and in her confessional, Britt says, let me get ready. I've dated all these guys that are like just super over the top, stunting and flossing. I was a huge video vixen back in high school, so I was just a bad bee. I was all in the music videos, so I've been lit since day one. When I met Mike, he was just very reserved. He was very understated. And I said, if I want to be a wife, I want to find a man that's just more, husband material. Dating rappers and ballers and athletes, like, I could never really see it as long term. With Mike, he just gave me husband real bad. Oh God, there is no way that this girl can get on here talk about how she been a bad bee since high school, and you can't even breathe through your nose correctly. Like, if you don't go and get your nasal passages fixed immediately, you want to talk about you got a 10-carat ring and all of this stuff. And girl, blow your nose. Do something, because that is not cute. Like, has nobody told her the way that she sounds? Like, is it a nodule or something up there stuck? Get that fixed, because until then, you cannot sit up here and talk about how you are that girl when you cannot even breathe without needing the oxygen mask. No, thank you. So Mike's family come over. It's his sister and I guess her husband and kids or whatever. And they sit down and have dinner. And you could tell, like, this is not something that they normally do, because the little nephew or whatever told. So as they're eating lobster and scallops made by this chef, the little boy gonna say, "We're eating lobster? Don't you think that's a little bit fancy?" The baby that told, like, "We don't never eat like that when we come over here. Normally we barbecue and eating hot dogs and pig feet and stuff." The baby that told it all. So, here go Britt telling her sister-in-law how she met with the other girls and that Kenya was being shady towards her. And I'm like, oh my God. We are episode 3. We're on episode 3 and you still talking about something that did not happen. It didn't happen. So you wanted to make this a thing between y'all. And it is obvious that you came into this season deciding that you were going to gun for Kenya, because that, even if she was, let's just say if she was being funny with the whole ring comment, it ain't even that deep of something for you to keep on harboring on it. But she wasn't even being funny. She was asking you a genuine question, and you were the one that had an issue with her because she didn't give you the greeting that you wanted, and because she didn't hug you. You weirdo, you psychopath. So, they get to discussing them having an actual wedding, because remember, she told us that they got married during COVID at the courthouse. So she wants to have her real big actual wedding. But when she discusses it, her husband shuts that conversation down real quick. He ain't trying to talk about that. And I know I saw a lot of people saying on last week's episode and the season premiere episode that they felt like her husband didn't like her. I'm going to wait to give my view on that a little bit later, you know what I'm saying, into the season, because I want to see more of their dynamics. If anything, I think he's probably annoyed by her because she's so extra and she do so much, but we shall see. So Britt and her sister-in-law go downstairs into the sitting room or whatever, and they sitting down talking, and we find out that Britt lost her dad in 2015, and he was like in finance or something like that, or I forgot what she said his career was, but he was very prominent in it. He had a $2 million life insurance policy, but it lapsed because he went from one job to another. So they ended up having to get a GoFundMe to pay for his funeral. And that then prompted her and her sisters to start their company or whatever, doing insurance. But it didn't work out with her and her sisters or whatever. So she decided to dissolve the company. And then that caused a strain on her relationship with her sisters. But this is my thing. Another thing. How old is Britt? Britt she gotta be in her mid 30s. I want to say she probably about a good 36, 37, something like that. You've been talking about how you've been that girl since high school, doing videos, dating rappers, dating ballers, and all of this type of stuff, which is not a flex to talk about how you was doing music videos in high school and doing men's magazines, which you stated in the season premiere episode, since you were in high school. Like, what the hell was going on in your household? Was your daddy working too much to pay attention to what his daughter had going on, or did they okay this type of salaciousness? But that's not a flex. Like, that's actually kind of low-key weird and sad that your parents would allow that. Did they know that this was going on? Like, what is happening here? So first of all, you get an F on that, because that's not bad B behavior. That's giving black girl lost. That's giving my parents weren't paying that much attention to me. But then, like I said, you flexing about how you was doing music videos and men's magazines and out here in the streets and dating this baller and that. But then y'all had to have a GoFundMe to pay for y'all daddy funeral. And then you talking about how your father was such a prominent man in his profession. He didn't have a savings. He didn't have nothing. Like, I'm so confused. Y'all didn't have enough money to bury this man. It's not giving bad B. This is giving sad B. So I don't understand how she's connecting the dots that she think that she that girl and you're not. It's actually quite embarrassing. But she think it's cute. But okay, girl. Okay. So then Kelli and Portia link up so they can have their one-on-one talk, because, you know, it's been awkward between them since season premiere episode, because Kelli made a comment to Shamea saying why that lady take that girl husband or whatever she said. So despite their awkwardness, before they met up, Kelli had actually called Portia to invite her to an event that she's holding at the Balmain store. And is it Fifth Plaza or whatever in Atlanta or whatever, which is really huge. It's a mommy and daughter event or whatever. It's a charity event that she's throwing. So they sit down, and like I said, it's weird. It's awkward between the two of them. And Portia says to Kelli, you have different personalities, and I don't know none of them yet, which was an insult, because what you trying to say, bitch, I'm crazy? What? So Portia in her confessional was like, she has different personalities, and they all start with L. Loud, louder, loudest, da 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 da. And so Kelli in her confessional says, I have different personalities and she has different men. So what difference does it make? And I was like, okay, that was a slight little read. It needed tweaking. It needed adjusting, but it did what it needed to do. So Kelli then says in the conversation, when me and Britt had dinner with Shamea, it was kind of to figure out what is the story. And so she says it in a way like it wasn't shady at all. It was just like asking a question. And that's exactly not how it was. She was being shady. She was throwing shade. She was, she was taking it there. And so Portia was like, that was so not the tone that was brought to me. So Kelli is playing into that like, yeah, like it wasn't even nothing like that. Da 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 da. So now this has Portia wondering, why would Shamea come back and put 10 on 20 if that's not how it was? Like, if she's trying to start drama with me and these girls. And so I'm looking like, this has been your friend since y'all were little girls. I would think that after having such a long friendship that you would know that she wouldn't play in your face like that and lie to you about something. So for you to take Kelli's word when you just met her over Shamea's is crazy to me. If anything, when y'all was at that table and she was playing it down like it really wasn't like that, I would have picked up the phone right then and FaceTime Shamea. Like, she saying to me like it wasn't even nothing like that. Like, what's the tea? You know what I'm saying? So that was weird that she would think the worst of Shamea right off rip. That was a red flag for me. And I'm going to circle back around to this moment a little bit later in this review. So then we go to Drew. She's in the studio working on her album. Angela, Kenya, and Cynthia visit her. They sit down and have a little powwow, and Kenya asks about Dennis, like, where he at? Why he ain't here? And Drew tries to like shy away from the conversation, but Kenya being Kenya, she presses on and was like, we gonna talk about this. We ain't talking about, do you want sparkling water, tap water, you know what I'm saying, heaven water? We want to know where Dennis. So Drew was like, he normally would be here or whatever, but we don't really talk like that. We don't talk on the phone. Like, Dennis barely answers his phone or whatever. And production rewinds the tape and shows where she in fact does call him. He answers the phone. She has him in her phone as Dennis bro. So it's like she trying to play it down like their relationship ain't like that for real or whatever. And it's just like, how can y'all barely talk, but you saying that he's been your angel in the sky, your guardian angel, and all this, that, and the third? Like, the two not adding up. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, Drew, you're getting caught in your lies, ma'am. Because if it's not like that between y'all, which I don't think it is, I don't think that him and Drew had anything going on. But why sit up here and try to downplay it like it's less than what it is between y'all? Y'all friends, which is, there's nothing wrong with it, So Kenya flat out tells her, you dead wrong for working with him and not running it past Portia. Like, you at least owed her that much. And I agree. I saw a lot of people in the comment section saying they didn't owe Portia anything or whatever. To each his own. I personally feel like a conversation was needed. Just a heads up. Now, whether or not I approved of it is another thing, but at least you ran it by me. You know what I'm saying? So I say, you know what I'm saying, too much. I need to stop that. Oh my God. But I think that she, meaning Drew, at least owed her a phone call to say this is what was going on. Now, she does say, I text her, I'm showing all the text, showing that I'm texting her, reaching out and saying, we need to talk. I need to talk to you. But as much as you texting her, you could have picked up the phone and say, hey girl, I just want to let you know I'm working with Dennis. That quick and easy. So that's not a good excuse for me. So Kenya was like, you're being talked about like you're a whore. Kind of sort of from Portia. So Cynthia was like, did you talk to Shamea, since she was the one that kicked this whole thing off? And Angela then jumps in, was like, yeah, we talked to her. She went off on us or whatever. And she said that she didn't ask Drew if she fucked Dennis. And Kenya and Cynthia was like, I could have sworn that's what she said. But producers rewinded it back and showed that she in fact said, "Are you and Dennis dating?" She didn't say anything about schmex. You know what I'm saying? So they were wrong on that part or whatever. And Angela was wrong for thinking that too. So Cynthia, Kenya, and Angela were wrong with that statement. So after that, we see Shamea sitting down at her house talking to her two sisters, and she's crying about, how everything in her life is just really overwhelming right now. She had the ectopic pregnancy. Her daughter Shia has to have tonsil surgery. She's dealing with, her youngest baby Shiloh's disabilities and everything, working, being a mother, being a wife. She got a lot going on. And, she just thanks her sisters for being there for her and picking up, the slack when she didn't have enough arms, to do so. And on top of that, she's still trying to have baby number 3. So, I feel for Shamea because she is going through a lot. And I think that her bestie at the time, Portia, should have realized that and tried to be more accommodating to her. I really do, because I think that it would have been done on Shamea's part if Portia was in her position. She would have been right there to help her, from what we've seen throughout the years. Now, it has been stated in present time via Portia that they aren't as close as they used to be. She felt like Shamea kind of like turned on her a little bit. So we shall see how this whole thing plays out this season. But basically, from what I'm getting, Portia is the one at fault for the downfall of their friendship, like always. Angela and Charles visit one of their investment properties that is finally like in the finishing stages. And she talks about them renewing their vows because they've had a strenuous time in the last few years, because it was an incident where Charles got kicked out of Madison Square Garden because one of the owners or something like that of that team didn't like him, had him kicked out, and it was a whole big thing. And I guess he felt some type of way about that and kind of like mentally shut down, and it was bad, and it caused a strain on their marriage. So they separated for a little while. And I guess they got back together, obviously. And, she wants to renew their vows because they've been through so much. But she even says in her confessional that he ain't trying to really talk about that because they have invested so much money into these properties that they need to get that handled first before they decide to jump into something else. And I agree. And I didn't understand why she wouldn't have agreed with that. Like, you literally just gave the reason why he don't want to talk about having a vow renewal right now. Y'all done invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into these homes and ain't sold one yet. Let's do that first. We already married, girl. I get it. You know what I'm saying? But like, But she does mention to him that she wants to go to therapy. He don't want to go to therapy. He's a very staunch man. He's one of them men that seem like he is set in his ways and ain't gonna be no changing. He's a very difficult man to deal with. I can tell. He got a mouth. He seemed like he's very cantankerous, very cranky, and things like he's an acquired taste. Let me say that. And I think that their marriage is gonna come under great scrutiny being on this show because of his attitude. And I don't think that he's a horrible man at all. I don't think that he's a horrible man, but I think that the world is going to see him as being a not so good husband and feeling like she deserves more, when he could possibly be the sweetest man ever and be a big teddy bear underneath the surface, but that's only shown behind closed doors, for the people that he loves and trusts. But I don't see it going very well for them when it comes to social media and how the world is going to perceive their marriage. So I don't think that this show is going to do this couple any favors at all. Drew visits her lawyer in this god-awful suit, where it was a blue suit with a bustier sewn on top of one side and half of it's hanging off. I didn't understand it. It was one of the ugliest things and most confusing things that I've ever seen in my life. This looked like an outfit that you would have seen on Project Runway in the bottom. Like, it was horrible. Oh my God, it was so ugly. So she sits down and talks to her attorney, and we find out that the last time they were in court, Ralph's lawyer didn't show up, and he had represented himself and cross-examined her. I'm like, do he think that he on Law and Order SVU? Do he think he on Night Court? This man he needs to be the actor. He should have been the entertainer in this marriage because he is ridiculous, okay? So she and the lawyer talk about how they basically just want Ralph out of the house. And once they get him out of the house, she wants to sell the house. So I'm like, is the house in her name? Or what is going on with that? They can't finalize the divorce because he hasn't given over his financial records. Now, the information that he has given over all pertains to her. This is why, child, you can't marry no man named Ralph. PSA. A man named Ralph approaches you, and this is for a man or a woman, turn the other way and run. You got to think about certain names. Ralph, Desmond, Rodney, Jerome, Jeffrey, like certain names you just know about to bring you hell in life. Like you got to avoid at all costs. And then you got to look at people's head shape. His head is shaped like a walnut. All the flags were there. All the flags were there. No. And the lawyer tells her that the judge has decided that though their case has been sealed, it's now about to be unsealed. So the world will now know all their dirty laundry, aka him cheating on her numerous times, sexting other women, taking her money, putting trackers on her, like pure craziness. What is wrong with people? Like, how did she stay with this man for so many years? This is why you couldn't get me to marry somebody. You couldn't get me to marry somebody nowadays because these men are so trifling. Nope. So Shamea's daughter Shia has her tonsil surgery, and it was so cute because she had on her little doctor's coat as they pulled up to the hospital. And baby, they had curbside service, honey. The doctor came to the car to greet her patient. I said, what kind of doctor is this? Ain't none of my doctors ever greeted me at the car. I'm gonna file a complaint. I need that type of service nowadays. But it was so cute. Her surgery was a success, and her husband was there with her. He was nervous, of course, but he tried to play it down. Let me tell you something. That man couldn't deny that Shia was his daughter if he tried. That little girl looked just like her daddy. Just like him, okay? Portia and Miss Diane go to the spa. One thing Miss Diane gonna do is have that hair swooped over and that bouffant going over to the side. She gonna have on a spandex bodycon dress. She is gonna have that makeup on, honey, and she is going to serve body, okay? She is an old hoe. Miss Diane is an old hoe. Do you hear me? Miss Diane was the bitch back in the day that'll fuck your husband and did, okay? She was a hot girl back in the day, still is, look like. Miss Diane was the type of girl that was dating drug dealers back in the day. She was the bottom bitch, okay? She's a baddie. She is the original baddie, okay? So Portia in her confessional says, that the man I'm seeing now is not my husband. And I'm like, Portia, we are not about to sit up here and act like you are a victim in any shape, way, or form. The man that you're seeing now is the exact same man that you married. He's just giving you the energy he was given to Fallon, and for whatever reason, you didn't think that you were going to get that energy from him. I don't know why the new woman always thinks that she's going to be treated better than the last. Like, girl, get out of here. Nobody feels sorry for you. You can play that small violin for your mammy. Okay, because she co-signs your foolishness, but we, the public, are not here for it. So she tells her mama that, Shamea took her out because she wanted to get her out the house, have her have a good time or whatever. And how she told her that, these new girls were talking about her. And Miss Diane says, well, why would she want to tell you everything that somebody said that is something negative when she's trying to make you feel better? I know you don't want to hear it. You and Shamea been friends since you were in high school, but you got to watch the dog that brings the bone. Okay, so remember I said I was going to circle back around to this. This is the moment. Okay, so that scene was one of two things. That scene was it could have been Miss Diane ain't never really saw it for Shamea and tolerated her because Portia did and has seen something in Shamea that we the public have not seen and is trying to warn her daughter. That's what that scene could have been about. Or it could have been that scene was about the fact that Portia had already told her mama about the conversation that she had with Kelli and how Kelli played it down and acted like, them questioning her marriage wasn't as shady as Shamea made it seem. And her mama went into this scene deciding to try to paint Shamea as being a shit starter, being an instigator and trying to start stuff. And that's what I personally think, because Shamea and Portia have been friends since they were little girls, right? That's just like me and my best friend, Lo. We've been friends since we was 10 years old. Her family is my family. My family is her family. Like, it ain't no this my friend. Like, she's literally family. My mother would be remiss to question anything negative about her regarding me. That would not even be her first thought, to side eye or question her behavior when it comes to me. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with my brother or anybody else. Nobody would think to be like, well, why would she do that? You know what I'm saying? So it's giving me she'd already fed in her mama. I think Shamea trying to start stuff between me and these new girls. You know what I'm saying? And so they went into that scene rehashing what they'd already talked about. And Portia had already given her mama the okay to say what she said on that camera. That's what I believe. Because we know now, after 16 years of this show, how Portia operates and how Portia plays puppet master behind the scenes. Because it does not make sense. None of that, what was said in that scene, made sense. Portia is trying to paint herself as being the victim. Like, is Shamea starting stuff with me and these new girls? Like, nobody has my back. I think that she did not like the fact that Shamea came on this show as a full-time peach holder. And then this past week when I learned that Candy, in fact, is the reason why Shamea got her peach. Not Portia. It was Candy who got her peach to be on this show. So I think Portia does not like the fact that her bestie is on this show. I think it takes away from who she is, her shine, and what she got going on. Same thing with her not wanting Drew to film with Dennis, because for Portia, this is my thing. And you can't participate. This is my ball. You can't have it. Give me my things back. This is her thing, and she has staked her claim on it. It was okay for Shamea to be her little lapdog, her, Robin to her Batman. But I think that once Shamea got that peach, it changed everything for them in a worse way than it already had been. Because now we on the same playing field. You know what I'm saying? You already got the husband. You already got the house. You already got the finances. You already got the kids. You know what I'm saying? You already got the entertainment career that I've been trying to have since I came on reality TV. Now you are a housewife right alongside me. And that's the only thing that I do got for real that has been successful. Because who have you seen buying Go Naked Her? I'll wait. Who have you seen buying Pamper by Portia sheets? I'll wait. I'll wait. Is she still on Dish Nation? I don't even know. Like, none of Portia's outside ventures have been a success outside of her being on Dish Nation. So now here comes Shamea coming in, and she has check mark, check mark, check mark, check mark. Portia, another failed marriage. Portia, can't even film in my own house. Portia, these girls coming for me. Like, that scene was a setup. That scene was a setup to make Shamea look bad and to paint her out as to being a bad friend, because you wouldn't even allow your mama to say nothing like that about your best friend if you didn't believe it. And like I said in the previous scene, it would have been nothing for her to pick up the phone and call Shamea right then and there to dispute all of that, to dispute it. So for me, that scene was nothing but Portia being snake ass Portia like she always has been. So it's the day of Kelli's Balmain event, which is huge. And I love that these, I won't say these because it's only been one girl, Kelli and Shamea, that have been really bringing the opulence back to Atlanta. I'm loving the fact that Kelli had this event at a Balmain store, which is really huge. It just brought the like I said, the opulence back to Atlanta, the glitz, the glamour of it all. I was obsessed. Loved Kelli's outfit. Loved that black and white moment with the pops of red. Loved Kenya and Brooklyn coming dressed alike. I think they were wearing, was that Oscar de la Renta, those floral dresses, or Valentino? It might have been. I had on my Valentino purse by the way last night. If you didn't see my pictures on the community page, go and look at it. Your girl ate down last night when I went to go see Jason's Lyrics, the play. But anywho. But Kenya and Brooklyn looked so cute. Britt, I actually like Britt outfit. She had on this pink and white Balmain dress, which was really cute. I loved Portia and Pilar's little floral dresses. Looked so cute. Cynthia, now this is the Cynthia that I love. Okay, this is the Cynthia I used to be in a throuple with. That suit looked good on her. It was slimming. I liked her Ike Turner bob. Like, this is the Cynthia that I like, that plays with fashion, that gives us these moments. I'm like, yeah, Cynthia, yeah. So when Portia arrived, she lets Kenya know that she came a little late because Drew kept their glam squad later than she was supposed to, because they share the same glam people or whatever. So she was like, yeah, she being shady. Okay. So Britt speaks to Kenya. Hi, Kenya. And Kenya was like, hi, beautiful. How you doing? Once again, being very hospitable, being very nice. There was no shadiness, no nothing. This girl is just obsessed. So then Portia asked Shamea, has she talked to Angela? And she was like, girl, I ain't talked to her. And she makes jokes about Angela's nose. So then Kelli gets up and makes a speech about the charity that they're raising money for that day, which is, I forgot the letters, but it's basically has to do with brittle bone disease. And 3 of her girls have it. And she found out about it when one of her daughters didn't look right. Like, it was something going on with her. They took the little girl to the hospital. The police wouldn't let them into the little girl room or whatever, because staff and everybody thought that she was being schmoozed or whatever at home, until they got the work done and it showed that she had brittle bone disease. So she wants to raise awareness and raise money. So 6% of the proceeds that they the money that was spent in the store that night would go towards the charity, which was really dope, because I didn't know much about that either. So Drew arrives super late with her sister and her daughter, and Angela goes over to Shamea and was like, we got off to a wrong foot. I would love for me and you to, go somewhere one day and have a little one-on-one conversation. And so Shamea was like, I would love to talk. I would love to meet Angela and not Drew's representative. And I was like, oh, okay. So she ain't over it. She's still mad. So Angela was like, that was Angela. And Shamea says, oh, so you do speak on Drew's behalf. And Angela says, I will. So Shamea says, okay, well, we don't need to talk about nothing then, because your feelings are your feelings. What your feelings are. I'm cool on you. So then Angela was like, you cool on me, be nice then, you're a mean girl. And Shamea says, you're a mean girl. And Angela was like, you're a mean girl, it goes with your name, Shamina. I was like, you thought you ate with that. Like, it was giving old lady read. Like, that wasn't good, Angela. Like, Shamina. Like, baby, she thought she had it. Like, I can't wait to pull this one out. So then Shamia was like, if you don't take it on back with that 99 nose. And I said, oh, Shamia, that was mean. And so Angela was like, okay, Flavor Flav. And I was like, Flavor Flav. I was like, another one? That was not a good read, Angela. But it was in her confessional when she brought it all together. And she said, Flavor Flav is the biggest hype man. And I feel like Shamia is the loudest one in the room. Portia is Chuck D. I mean, she just shows up and collects her check and Shamea does all the work. And I said, okay, now you should have said that in the scene though. You should have been like, okay, Flavor Flav, you over here being Portia hype man. Meanwhile, all she got to do is show up and collect her check and you up here doing all her dirty work. See, that's how you were supposed to eat them up in the scene, girl. So people could have got the context, because just saying, okay, Flavor Flav, you just thinking about, oh, you calling her Flavor Flav because she chocolate. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, Shamia was like, from the 99 to the 2000. That was funny. Then Shamia go say, does anybody have any glue to get her nose back down? And I said, no, leave the lady nose alone. She can't help it. So Angela was like, can somebody get your nose out of Portia's ass? And I was like, okay, that's kind of good. That was cute. That was cute. So then we find out that they, in fact, raised $30,000, which was really, really good. Portia comes over to Shamea and was like, they said you over here talking about somebody physically. So I'm guessing like it's a thing now where you're not supposed to like body shame or whatever. Like, girl, this is Housewives. This is what you're supposed to do. So Shamea was like, I mean, she called me Flavor Flav, so we even. But I guess it was going around the room. No, what I was going to say is Shamea made it seem like she talked about her physically first. But that wasn't the case. She did talk about her physically first by coming for the girl nose or whatever. So Shamea was like, I mean, I was Flavor Flav for Halloween, but I didn't know she was going to be LaToya Jackson here today. And I said, oh, you are eating this girl up with the nose jokes. So Portia gonna tell him some hee. Baby, that he took me out. Took me out, okay? So before the night is over, Shamea goes over to Drew and apologizes if she, in fact, did embarrass her by bringing that up in front of everybody. And Drew thanks her for the apology. And then Drew goes over to Portia and tries to talk to her. And Portia was like, yeah, I didn't feel good that day. How about we get together next week? And Drew was like, why we can't just talk right now? Like, why we can't do it right now? And so Portia was like, I'd rather not. And so in her confessional, Portia says that she feels like Drew was being bold because her sister was there. Like her sister was putting the battery in her back. Portia in her confessional gonna talk about some, she done brought Heavy D with her. And I'm like, now why is y'all coming after all these 90s rappers? What did they do to y'all, okay? Baby, the reads were reading in tonight's episode, all right? The ladies were bringing it with the reads. This was a cute little shady episode. I liked Kelli's scene a lot. I thought that, it brought the glamour to the housewives. I like the fashion choices of some of the ladies. I see Portia stirring the pot when it comes to her and Shamea. Like, her jealousy is ripe and green with envy, okay? Britt played herself on so many different levels. I think that Kenya once again came in, did her job, and showed up and showed out. I think that Angela and Shamea just got off on the wrong start, but I do feel like Angela was the aggressor of this situation, So that's unfortunate. I'm going to give this week's episode of Atlanta, I'll give it a B+. It was a really good episode. Now, I did see on next week's episode is when things are really going to go head to head with Britt and Kenya, and she's going to come for Kenya, and Kenya is going to slay the dragon as she always does. And that's going to lead into episode 5, where it's all going to go down with the photographs and all of that type of stuff. So it looks like we only got Kenya for 2 more episodes, y'all, and then she is donezo for the season. So with that being said, if Kenya is done by episode 5, let's just say maybe 6, 5 or 6, we obviously didn't have a lot to work with between then and when Phaedra comes in the last 2 weeks of filming. What is the season going to be about? Because obviously they didn't have a lot to go with. The ladies weren't bringing it due to the fact they had to bring Phaedra in to try to come salvage the season with only 2 weeks left. So this is going to be very interesting to see how the rest of this season plays out once Kenya is taken out of the equation. But as you saw and as you are seeing, she was not the aggressor of this situation. Britt was the entire time. And I'm sorry, I like Kelli as an addition to this show. I think Kelli has been so far a perfect casting. She fits in perfectly. Angela right about now, she's doing an okay job. She's doing okay. She's not great. You know what I'm saying? She's not horrible. She's in the middle. Britt, for me, is just not adding up. The lifestyle, the mindset, the nasal passages, none of it's adding up for me. I don't know about her as a housewife, and this has nothing to do with my feelings about her and Kenya or anything. It's just like her energy is giving Ratchet TV and not Atlanta Housewives. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really know how I feel about her. And then especially knowing that she allegedly, and this is why Shamea don't fool with her. Shamea said that she said something about her second daughter, which has the disabilities. So the fact that she has said something about that girl kid, like, yeah, I could never respect you. Never, ever, 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 ever. So my thing is, if she did say something like that about Shamea's daughter, what's to make me believe that she didn't threaten Kenya with a pow pow? But we shall see. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about this week's episode down below in the comment section. Make sure to thumbs up this video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on your post notifications so you know my videos drop. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.